Hey, special educators. Welcome to Teach, Taskbox, Inspire, the podcast dedicated to making your job as a special education teacher easier by making your instruction more fun for you and your students. Inside each episode, you'll learn how to get the most use out of your task boxes in the classroom. I'm your host, Lisa Holiday from Chalkboard Superhero, a veteran special education teacher passionate about empowering you with purposeful teaching strategies, helpful tips and tricks, and other classroom management tools that will help you thrive in your role. Let's get started with today's episode.
Hey there, special educators, and welcome back to another episode of Teach, Taskbox, Inspire. I'm your host, Lisa Holiday, and today we're talking about something that can be a little bit controversial. And it might ruffle a few feathers, but I think it's one we need to talk about. The culture around leaving at contract time. You've probably heard it. Ooh, must be nice to leave work at 3:15. Oh, wow, you're already heading out? The subtle guilt, the side eyes, or the belief that good teachers stay late. But here's what I believe. You can love your students, do amazing work, and still leave when your contract time ends. So today, we're going to unpack what the culture comes from, why it's so toxic, and how we can start creating healthier boundaries without guilt. And you guys, this can change from building to building. I have worked for 5 or 6 different school districts in many different buildings, and I'll tell you that it just depends on the building that you're in. Currently, I love the building I am in. We are all about leaving on time and putting our life first. But I have been in schools that is not always like that, where the entire culture is you need to stay late. So let's jump into it. Let's be real. Teaching has become a profession that absolutely glorifies burnout. Somewhere along the way, we equated exhaustion with dedication. You know that teacher who stays until 6 p.m. laminating, organizing, redoing her bulletin board? We've been taught to see her as the quote-unquote gold standard. But that expectation isn't sustainable. And it's not a badge of honor. It's actually a symptom of a broken system. When I first started teaching, I thought staying late made me look more committed, like I was part of the team, right? I'd be one of the last cars in the parking lot. I was eating granola bars for dinner, printing materials at 6 o'clock at night. And guess what? It didn't make me a better teacher. It made me a tired one. Over time, and after having children, I realized something powerful. No one hands out medals for staying late. Leaving on time doesn't make you lazy. It actually makes you balanced. And the truth is, we've internalized this hustle culture because teaching is emotional. We care deeply. We want the best for our students. But caring doesn't mean sacrificing your own well-being. You guys, you can't pour from an empty cup. So let's dig into that guilt. Why do so many teachers feel bad leaving when their contract says they can? Here's a few reasons. Number 1, comparison culture. Everyone else is staying, I must be missing something, right? Number 2, perceived judgment. If I leave early, my admin or my coworkers will think I just don't care, which isn't the truth. Number 3, unrealistic workload. Some people think, there's simply too much to do in 7 hours. Or number 4, identity attachment. I'm a good teacher because I go above and beyond. Here's the truth. You can be passionate and professional without being perpetually exhausted. I have to remind myself, my contract says 7:40 to 3:10, and that's what I'm paid for. Staying until 5 p.m. every night means I'm donating hours to a system that already underpays and overworks educators. And that doesn't make me noble. It makes me depleted, especially I have kids at home. We need to normalize teacher having lives outside the classroom. You're allowed to leave and pick up your kids or go to the gym or go to the grocery store, make dinner, or just frickin' breathe, right? So let's jump into setting boundaries. Boundaries aren't barriers, they're protection. And the moment I start honoring mine, everything changed. So here's kind of what that looked like for me. I made a rule. I don't bring anything home on weeknights. I just don't. And actually, I broke that rule last weekend. I brought a bunch of stuff home and I did work all weekend, but sometimes it's okay for me to break my own rules. Next, I use the first 15 minutes of my contract day intentionally. I'm not scrolling email. I'm not chatting with the people next door. I'm not walking the hallways looking for people to chat with. I use it by prioritizing my tasks, right? I'm setting up my materials. The next thing I did was I created like a shutdown routine at the end of the day. So at 3:10, I clean up, jot a to-do list for tomorrow, and then I walk out that door. Do sometimes I leave 10 minutes late? Sure. Do sometimes I leave 20 minutes late? Absolutely. Was it hard at first to do this? Did I feel guilty? Yes. But here's the thing. Guilt fades. The peace doesn't. Boundaries send a message to you and your colleagues and your students that, my time matters. And yours does too. If you are constantly saying yes to everything, you're silently teaching people to expect that from you. Saying no or not right now is actually modeling healthy adult behavior for your students. So you might be like, okay, Lisa, give me some strategies. I need strategies because guess what? Leaving on time doesn't work for me. Okay, I'm going to help you out here. So write these down. You got to be intentional. So here are some of my time-saving tips and habits, right? We got to turn these into habits. Number 1, theme your days. So on Monday, you lesson prep. Tuesday, you update the data. Wednesday, you do your IEP paperwork. Thursday, you communicate with parents. Friday, you clean up and reset. However it is you want to do, because your days are not going to look just like that. I promise you, they're not. But make it to where you're like, okay, I got to do this, and this on these days. Number 2, batch your tasks. So instead of checking email 10 times a day, do it once or twice even. Once before school, once before you leave. Don't do all of it all throughout the day. You'll drive yourself crazy. Number 3, automate and simplify. Use checklists and those types of things to help you make systems so your classrooms run smoothly. Just like little task boxes, right? Number 4, prioritize like a boss. Ask yourself, okay, what actually moves my students forward? Anything else can wait. Number 5, protect your prep period or your planning period. Shut the door if you need to. A 20-minute focused prep session beats 2 hours of scattered multitasking after school, especially if you are a social butterfly and you have an array of people, coming through your door wanting to talk to you. At one point in my teaching career, I used to make a headband that says, "Leave me alone." And I would wear it because I needed that time to just get things done. You'd be surprised when you stay organized and purposeful, leaving at contract time doesn't feel rushed anymore. It just feels right. So we have to start changing the narrative in our schools. Staying late doesn't equal dedication. It actually often equals poor boundaries, or rather, unrealistic demands. Imagine if instead of praising teachers for staying late, we celebrated teachers for having balance, right? And I actually feel this in the current building I'm in right now. What if we said things like, wow, you left at contract time and you went to your kid's soccer game? Good for you. Or, wow, you protected your weekend and still crushed your IEP meeting. Amazing. Can we please start doing this? That would be great. We can be both passionate and present, at school and at home. And leaders, admin, if you're listening to this starts with you too. You have to model balance. Encourage your staff to use their time wisely and leave without guilt. Burned out teachers can't build thriving classrooms. So if you need someone to give you permission to leave on time, Consider this it. You are not a bad teacher for having boundaries. You are not less committed for leaving at 3:10. You are modeling self-respect, sustainability, and balance for every student that's watching you. Your worth isn't measured in extra hours. It's measured by impact. And impact doesn't require exhaustion. It requires clarity, consistency, and compassion. So tomorrow, when that clock hits contract time, you better pack up your bags, turn off your lights, and walk out that door with your head held high. You've done enough. You are enough. Whatever you're leaving on your desk can wait till tomorrow. All right, that's all I have for you guys today. I hope this resonated with you this week, and I hope you can take one thing from this episode and start that tomorrow. Until next time, guys, bye-bye.
Thanks for tuning in to this episode of Teach, Taskbox, Inspire. I hope you've gained some tips and motivation to fuel your week ahead. If you're ready to explore more strategies for empowering your students as independent learners, be sure to dive into my free training at chalkboardsuperhero.com/training. And don't keep all this knowledge to yourself. Share this episode with your special education teacher friends who could use some motivation and inspiration. One more thing before you go. If you're finding this podcast helpful and want to show support, head to Apple Podcasts and leave your rating and review. Until next time, keep teaching, taskboxing, and inspiring.